Hi, I'm Steve Jacobson, the founder and CEO of Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Hurricane Laura slammed into southwest Louisiana in August of 2020 in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. The storm's Category 4 winds flattened buildings, snapped trees like twigs, and knocked electricity out over hundreds of square miles for weeks. You're about to watch the story of how Fairway stepped in to help its own employees, as well as others who suffered from the storm's devastation.
It was crazy, the gust, you know.
And it was just a howling sound.
Like a large wild cat just screaming in the middle of the night.
And you could hear the trees falling.
The snapping of the pine trees. The eye of the storm was coming right over us.
And then we heard kabloom, that's when the first tree hit the house. That's when we lost power.
I woke up when I heard the sound of that explosion, and I heard and smelled the electricity in the air.
We just figured the best place for us to do was just hunker down in our house.
I found out I wasn't near as brave as I thought I was.
It was all of a sudden pitch black, and I'm hearing zzzz.
We started to second guess our decision to stay.
And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, that's it, Lord, you got my attention now. I'm awake, old girl.
When we got out in the morning, finally got daylight, it just looked like a war zone.
So as soon as it was first light, my husband was anxious to get out. He said trees were down everywhere.
What's crazy is we thought it was really, really bad here. The further you go south, the worse it got. I'm telling you, down in Lake Charles looked like a third world country.
Now what happened was, because we do have a whole house generator, by the end of the day we had 6 families staying under this roof. And they stayed here for almost 10 days because we were out of electricity 10 days. I did worry about the poultry houses. 40,000 chickens are in one house. And so when you lose electricity, you lost air. August in Louisiana is 100 degrees plus. And humidity that is 80 and 90%. It's hot. We had lost about 22,000 4-pound chickens. That was pretty devastating. So I have a ferry team that is in central and north Louisiana. So the next morning, the first thing I started doing was checking with people. Is everybody safe? Are you good?
Louise texted and said, hey, how are you doing? Are you okay? Do you need anything?
We didn't have electricity at our house. And so there were 8 or 9 of us trying to stay at my daughter's home in one little room that we had managed to keep cool.
What I realized is a lot of my team, they needed generators and they needed them ASAP.
The heat was a big issue for me. You're doing hot, sweaty, back-breaking manual labor. You come inside, you can't even turn a fan on. I opened up this door, and I opened up that back door there, and I let the hurricane rage on through so I could have some breeze because I just couldn't deal with the heat.
And they were saying the grid is going to be down for weeks. It is almost intolerable at night.
That's when Louise stepped in and said, we'll get you a generator so you can go home.
What I soon found out, the generators, well, they're all gone. Well, when I realized getting my hands on generators was not going to be an easy task, I became almost obsessed with generators. I have to get generators in the hands of my team.
I don't think Louise has ever set out to do something and not gotten it done.
That's all I could think about was generators.
Louise is the next best thing to General George S. Patton.
We will find them some way, somewhere.
If she says it's happening, it's happening.
If I have to drive to frickin' Arkansas, I'm gonna get some generators here. They said, you cannot talk to her because the only word she knows is generator. I said, okay, well, when I have enough, I'll stop talking about it, but I have to get generators. So when I started sending Jake pictures of the damage, and him saying, how bad? And I said, well, we have no power.
After Hurricane Laura, some of the stories were earth-shattering.
The next day, he'd say, you have power. I said, still no power.
There was people that didn't have power for 2-3 weeks. 12 to 15 people staying in a house and just scrambling to try to find generators.
He says, you know what, let's do something to help.
So what we did is we sent money to him, and we didn't tell him, we just sent it to him.
And so when I sent the email, that's when Steve Jacobson forwarded it to a lot of the branches. And you know what, it just brings tears just to think about so many of the Fairway branch managers said, you know what, I want to help with that hurricane relief. I want to donate so much, which was awesome and amazing. Just of people donating to our cause. It's fantastic.
Louise texted and said, hey, we have generators and we have window units. I don't know where they got them from, but they got their hands on generators. I mean, they came through like the cavalry.
I got 3,500, 6,500, 9,500, 11,000. I got a 14,000. If I could buy it, I said, give it to me, and then I'll figure it out.
When we got the temperature down to a cool 89 degrees in here, I was like, man, this is the life, right?
So after Louise made sure that all our team members were equipped with generators, and I thought, you know, I need to check on some of my veterans because I do a lot of VA loans.
Angela walks in and she says, you're not going to believe this. She says, several of those veterans are sleeping in their car because it was so hot. I said, no. So she came out here, we loaded them up, and she took 2 air conditioners, 2 window units, and 2 generators to those veterans.
I was in the Army. I joined when I was 17 years old, and I also work with the American Warrior Initiative as their veteran liaison. Our motto is find the need, fill the need. When we find out what the veterans need, we do whatever it takes to fill that need. So I immediately texted Louise and said, look, this good friend of mine, a Marine combat vet, his house is really in bad shape, and this is what I mean. He's missing a wall.
You know, I mean, it was just a huge mess, leaves, limbs, trees everywhere. I mean, obviously there was the 2 trees on the house. She called us that evening and she said, you know, don't worry. She's like, I'm on it. And it was like, you know, on what? She's like, you know, I done got the ball rolling. She's like, I've got y'all a generator and a window unit.
So the window unit he got from Louise, he was able to hook his generator up to that so that they could at least have air. That was a big, I think, a lifesaver for them.
One thing about the insurance policies in Louisiana, me and my wife were on the phone with these people and it's like, oh, we know you've got a $5,000 deductible. And we're like, do what?
In Louisiana, apparently, if your damage is caused by a hurricane, your deductible is doubled. So if you had a $2,500 deductible, your deductible now is $5,000.
That is where the Fairway Foundation stepped up. Steve Jacobson, as our CEO, said, let's do it, and they helped out.
We got a call and they said that they were going to cover 100% of the deductible for our house.
So we're going to give you a family grant of another $5,000.
Oh, wow.
That'll help you with some of the other things that you have.
Well, I greatly appreciate that. I'm gonna give you I'm not an emotional person. I mean, just the things I've seen and done in life, but it was amazing. You know, I mean, it felt unnatural. You know, I mean, nobody's ever done anything like that for me. And it's amazing. It really is.
The reason Fairway does this is because of giver's gain. It always comes back to you as far as what to do. And when those things happen, to send somebody $5 grand, 10 grand, 7 grand, 3 grand, it can be everything to them.
This is just one of the things, one of the many things that I have witnessed in my 20 years of being with this company is if there is a need, they come in and help you with that need. Sometimes it's like it's a follow the leader. Steve Jacobson, as our CEO, the people within Fairway, they see him and they know the spirit and the culture of Fairway permeates through every branch. And there's such a giving, helping spirit within this company.
And the joy can be there every day. And if you take your eyes off yourself and focus on helping other people, you can have joy consistently. And that's what we do.